Go ahead. Turn it up. It's the Record Machine Show with your host, Jimmy Howe.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Dirty Swamp Blues recording artist K.K. Hammond to the program.
Hi, Jimmy. It's K.K. Hammond here. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How you doing, K.K.?
Not too bad, not too bad.
So who is K.K. Hammond and where are you originally from?
I was born in London, in England. Who am I? I think, to be honest, beyond my blues persona, I'm not that interesting a person, really. I am a true country girl. I live on a farm. Mm-hmm. I work with horses. And, that's the long and short of it, really. I moved out to the country about 10 years ago. And I've got a bit of a lot of country background in my family. My parents, my mum's background was from a farming community in France. I've lived out here for about 10 years, enjoying the hermit's life.
Sounds interesting. Now, at what age did you start playing guitar and singing?
I was, my dad actually is a flamenco guitarist, and since I was big enough to hold my head up, I was watching him play guitar. Mm-hmm. And I developed a fascination that way. I think as soon as I could pick up the guitar, I started messing about with it. Singing, I don't know, that's a good question. I think I was more in my teen years when I decided to give singing a crack and started getting into bands. Mm-hmm. And I mean, the blues, I've always felt like it's often said, I think it was Miles Davis that said that flamenco is the Spanish counterpart to the blues. So I've always felt that the blues was going to be on the cards for me. And it was watching my dad and gaining that interest in classical sort of music that I think put me on this trajectory.
Very cool. Now, I believe every artist or band is influenced by someone. Who are some of yours?
I would say probably one of my main influences is a bluesman called Skip James. And he's from the Bentonia School of Blues. And he plays some very unique and haunting country blues. And the first time I heard him, it really resonated with me. I thought, wow, there's so much passion and soul in that music. Mm-hmm. I would really love to do something like that. And I think that just took me down a rabbit hole of a whole host of blues musicians. I listened to a lot of old music, a great deal of Delta blues, all the bluesmen from the early 1930s, and just generally roots music really does appeal to me. And combine that with a bit of folk music and an interest in murder ballads, it just kind of amalgamated into what I do, which is sort of a spooky blues with a bit of a folk edge to it.
What is the curse of K.K. Hammond, and do you actually believe in curses?
I'm not too sure if I believe in curses. I think some would say life is a curse, some would say it's a blessing. To be honest with you, I was just paying homage to the spooky vibes of the old blues and, picking from the old tales of the devils at the crossroads and stuff like that. And I thought it would just be a fun name. I'm a bit of an edgelord, really. I'm not going to lie. I just thought, yeah, that'd be a cool name. I'm going to go with that. But there's nothing in the way of curses that I know of hanging over my head, I hope. And you can never be sure.
It is a cool name, and I don't really believe in curses either. I mean, I believe in fate, but I wouldn't say that's a curse, right? I mean, things happen for a reason. Absolutely. I mean, I don't know. I think anyone can pick enough coincidences in their life and think they're cursed, but it works both ways, doesn't it? We have to look at the blessings, right? Mm-hmm. Now, do you think a curse would have something to do with karma, or that's totally different?
I think curses can be something that people bring upon themselves. I think that if you've got a mindset which is very negative and only ever sees the bad in life, I think you can put yourself on a path of making decisions and having mindsets which don't really take you forward in life and make you stagnate in it's never going to happen to me. All this bad stuff, it always happens to me. You know what I mean? So I think it's more so a personal construct that people bring upon themselves.
Exactly. Your new album, Death Roll Blues, is set to release in March of 2023 and will be available on digital, vinyl, and CD. With the album pre-sales began on Halloween. Can you talk about this release a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's taken me quite a long time to put Death Roll Blues together. I wanted to really take my time with it. I tend to work pretty slow in the studio. And basically, it's a deep dive on the concept of death. It's a concept album, I would say, with every song touches on death in some sort of way. And that goes from morose to comedic. But yeah, every song has some element of death in it, in the lyrics, and possibly, the delivery is quite dark in a lot of these songs on the album.
Very cool. Now, are you into horror movies too?
Yeah, I love horror movies. I've always watched horror movies. I always complain that I run out of them because I watch them with such frequency. I tend to run out of good movies to watch. But I mean, I'm a huge Rob Zombie fan. I love a lot of what he brings out. And some of the classics as well appeal to me. And I just always complain. It's the frequency of good movies. I think good horror movies is quite slow. Obviously, they can be very tropey. You can get stuff which is has been done to death. It's really hard to get a good one which scares you. I think that's the rarity. They can give you jump scares, but that's cheap. But a good, profound psychological scare, I think, is a rare thing. And when you find them, I mean, they tend to live in your head rent-free, don't they? You can't get them out of your head, and you certainly can't turn the lights off at night.
Do you have a favorite Halloween movie?
Do I have a favorite?
Yeah, like a horror movie.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. I mean, The Devil's Rejects that's a Rob Zombie film, and like
right.
I think that's a really, really cool film. And I always really appreciate the way that he took these villains who are obviously just terrible people doing terrible things. And by the end of the movie, you have developed some level of sympathy for them, which is a kind of a strange feeling. You end up feeling a degree of cognitive dissonance, that you feel sorry for these guys and you're rooting for them. Whereas in the beginning of the movie, it delivered you into like a really messed up situation of what these guys do and how they live. So yeah, I like stuff which makes you think, and definitely that movie hit the nail on the head for me.
One of my favorite horror movies of all time is the original Halloween. What did you think of the Rob Zombie version of Halloween?
Yeah, I mean, I thought he delivered it pretty well, actually. That's never been my favorite of the horrors, but I thought Rob did a pretty good job on it. He usually does, I think. So yeah, I should probably give it another watch, really.
I watched the last one they just put out. It's called Halloween Ends on Peacock. I didn't really enjoy that one too much. I think they kind of screwed over everybody.
I've just said I've seen all the horror movies, but I've not seen that yet. I've got to give that a watch.
Yeah, that's on Peacock. And now I also read that Peacock is going to have a series about Friday the 13th. It's going to be called Crystal Lake. It's going to be a prequel.
Cool.
To Friday the 13th. I think that's pretty cool, right?
What Peacock? Is it a channel?
Yeah. If you have like I guess if you have a Roku or like one of those smart TVs, you just download the Peacock app, and all those are up there on there.
I'll have to find it. I'll have a look for it.
Yeah. This podcast is going to feature two of your tracks, Death Roll Blues and a cover of a folk song, In the Pines. What's the story behind Death Roll Blues, and what made you decide to cover In the Pines?
Death Roll Blues is, as I said, it's a look at death. So it's the opening track on the album, and I think it's probably the most morose feel, this track. And it's about a spirit of the swamp, if you like, that calls people into the swamp. And it's a metaphor on, again, how people end up kind of addicted to bad feelings and bad thoughts. And they find themselves drawn into these negative thoughts and depressive thoughts, and end up drowning in them. So it's all a metaphor, really, where the swamp symbolizes that and the call of the swamp. In the Pines, I mean, I think that was always on the cards for me because it's an awesome murder ballad with a really interesting history behind it. I mean, it's been covered famously by so many people, obviously. Leadbelly, the bluegrass musician Bill Monroe covered it, and of course Nirvana at MTV Unplugged, I think 94. And it's the history, it goes back so far, and they don't actually know the original writer. So I thought it's a song I really love by Leadbelly, who's of course a bluesman who I really love. And it's a murder ballad with such a creepy story to it. So I thought, yeah, that would be it's a great song as well. And I wanted to do my own spin on it because every version has got such a unique feel. So I thought maybe there's a way I can make it my own. So that's why I decided to go with that one. But I don't do many covers, but that was one that I thought it just really drew me in. And I ended up recording it. And did a great job at that too. Thank you. That's really nice of you, Jimmy. Thank you. You're welcome. Now, how do you approach songwriting? What is your creative process like? Do you know, I tend to sit around with a guitar, picking away, sometimes passively. Maybe I've got a movie on or whatever. And I find what tends to happen is I'll get a little hook and then a lyric will pop into my head. And it usually is the most random of lyrics. And I think, okay, I'll write a song around that. And I mean, sometimes it's just literally one or two words or like a little bit of a hooky chorus idea. And I think, okay, now I have to write a whole story around these one or two words. So I think for me, my songwriting, I'm not very good. If you told me to sit down and write a song about, I don't know, trees in the sky, I'd probably struggle a bit. I find that I'm somewhat of a conduit. I sit there and I wait for the music to hit me and for the ideas to strike. Mm-hmm. And when they do, I totally roll with it. And actually a lot of my, when I do guitar parts, so I'll have obviously the main structure of the song in my head. So I'll record that. And then I do actually a lot of improvisation when I record my guitar solos. So often my guitar solos I've played them once when recording and they're not actually something I've structured before. I just go with it. And I don't know if that's the best way to do things, but I really enjoy it that way. And I feel you can get a lot of emotion into the music if you just sort of let go and roll with it. So, yeah, I mean, it's I can't say I have any particular structure I work with. I just literally roll with it and see what comes out. What's best for you, right? What I mean, it works for me. That's it. Yeah, because I ask people that question all the time, and I get totally different answers every single time, and I expect that. Yeah, it's a very interesting question. You know, do you have any shows coming up that you'd like to talk about? I'm often asked, when am I going to play live? And as of now, I don't actually have anything coming up. I'm not the biggest fan of playing live. I've done live shows in the past, and I was in metal bands, believe it or not. But it's not something I particularly enjoy. And I mean, I feel the wave will eventually take me there, but I'm avoiding it for as long as I can because I don't really like having all eyes on me. And my passion is the writing of the music and the recording of the music. And I also really love working on music videos. That's another thing that I find really fun. So I've not booked anything, and I'm always finding an excuse not to play live, but I'm kind of running out of excuses. So I'm probably going to have to eventually give in and do it. Wow. When was the last time you performed live somewhere? I was actually a teenager. Wow. Absolutely years ago. I'm trying to remember the last stuff I did. I played in London a few times with my hardcore band. And yeah, I mean, it was something I got used to, but I don't consider myself a great front person. I don't really know what to say to a crowd. And I feel that if you've got a crowd, you really do owe them a good show. So I'm trying to build my confidence and really find faith in my music and what I do. And like people have been really kind and enthusiastic about my stuff, and I'm really grateful for that. Mm-hmm. But when I do play live, I really want to deliver the best of myself. So I'm waiting until my mind is in the right place to do it with full confidence. Now, besides writing and recording your own music, do you write for anybody else, like maybe TV shows, movies, etc.? Or do you have any interest in that? No, I haven't actually. I'd love to. You know, I think for me, getting in video games and movies and stuff like that would be really, really cool, especially, I mean, people always say, oh, your music should be in Red Dead Redemption and stuff like that. Yeah. So, or a motorcycle show, or I don't know, something like that. I would absolutely love it. And yeah, I mean, I'd love to do something like that if the opportunity arose, but nothing's come up yet. But I suppose I'm in my infancy. I've got a little bit of time to work on that.
Yeah, I can totally see your music being played in a TV show or even a movie, an action movie or a thriller.
That'd be a lot of fun. Yeah, I'd love it.
Yeah, you should look into that.
Yeah, I'm definitely trying to knock on the right doors to make that happen.
Maybe Michael knows somebody that can help you out with that.
Yeah, I think Michael's been looking into it. I mean, a few things have come up. I think what I do is quite niche, so it has to be the right the right movie or the right show or the right game. So, Michael does send me lists of potential stuff I could do, and I do read through them. But obviously, I don't really want to send anything in unless I feel it does hit the mark. I don't want to waste anyone's time. So when that motorcycle show comes up or a video game or something that hits the mark, I'm there.
Now, you mentioned music videos before. Do you have any new videos that are going to be coming out soon? And if so...
I've got one for Death Roll Blues, which I made. I put it together myself. And I've had a dude who does CGI put some very cool effects in it. So there are scenes of people sinking in the swamps, which, I mean, we just found some stock footage of that. And my CGI dude has put resonator guitars sinking in and alligators swimming around them. So, I mean, it's. I think a lot of people are going to have a really big shock and think I've killed some resonator guitars, but I haven't. It's all CGI.
Wow.
Recently we shot a music video for The Bone Collector, which is one of the songs on my album. And that was, that was really out there. I mean, the idea grew from a seed and it ended up pretty insane in a Georgian manor house with all my friends in period dress.
Wow.
And it got pretty crazy, that music video. I think it was as mad as people could get while sober. But I'm really, really looking forward to that. That's hopefully going to be coming out next year around the album release. And I did that with a guy called Loki Films, who has shot some really, really epic music videos for some excellent bands. So we have a mutual friend, which I'm very grateful for. That's how I got the link up. And I think that's going to be a really, really interesting video because the place we went to was completely insane. There was it was this lady's house, and she was a massive eccentric. And she had literally peacocks wandering around her house and all sorts of unusual animals just wandering around. So I thought this is going to be a pretty surreal video, but that's what we wanted. So yeah, I think that's one of the things I'm most excited about. That'll be a lot of fun, I think, when that comes out.
Awesome. Now, do you have a website you'd like to promote?
I sure do. It is the Curse of K.K. Hammond.com.
And everything's up there, right? All your social links.
Yeah, that's right. All my social links, a link to download or to pre-save the album, Death Roll Blues. It's all concisely on there.
Now, is there anything you'd like to mention that we didn't talk about today?
I'd like to give a shout out and bring awareness to all the great contemporary blues acts which are coming up these days. And I'm so happy to see that there is another revival of blues. And obviously a good friend of mine, David and the Devil, he features on my album on the opening track, Death Roll Blues. And he's a fantastic artist and resonator player. And I'm going to be doing some work soon with another friend of mine, Casper Berry Rapkin. And he's in a couple of bands, Casper and the Swamp Dogs and Vipera. And we're hoping to work on a single together. So that's very exciting because it's always such a pleasure to work with your friends. And another great bluesman I'd love to shout out is a friend of mine called Fantastic, who is very, very much worth checking out. He's absolutely fantastic. I totally fangirl over him, to be honest. I love his music. And I just want to mention the companies which have made it possible for me to do what I do, such as Mule Resophonic. They make resonator guitars, and I'm completely addicted to my resonators from them. And National Resophonic, a company with a very interesting history, and I have resonator guitars from them as well. And also part of the Hammond Guitar Company, who has made cigar boxes for me.
Wow.
And they are pretty awesome. And then just finally, I just want to say a shout out to Cerys Matthews on BBC Radio 2, who plays my songs. And, it's a really big deal for me. I'm incredibly flattered that she likes my stuff. Mm-hmm. And my long-suffering A&R guy, Joe Cushley, who has been really, truly amazing and worked very, very hard to get me everything that he possibly can. So I'm very, very grateful to those guys. And, of course, Michael for setting me up with this awesome interview. It's such a pleasure.
I know. I had such a great time, too, and I want to thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your stories and your music. And I'm looking forward to hearing this new album when it comes out. And I just want to wish you the best holiday season and a Happy New Year.
You too, Jimmy. I hope you have a great Christmas and, enjoy it.
You too. And let's stay in touch. Maybe when that album comes out, we'll have you back on and we'll talk about it a little more.
Absolutely. I'll send you a copy over when it comes out.
Awesome. All right. Well, you take care now, all right?
You too. Thank you so much. Take it easy.
You're welcome. Bye-bye.
All right then, Jimmy. Bye. Bye.
Thanks for listening. We'll be back next week again for a fresh round.
Record Machine.